Hello, guys. Danny here at Partay. So, just wanted to cover off on a couple of things, man. It's been a rough week and a half. Not even quite a week. Well, I guess it would be a week and a half because I started last Saturday. But just wanted to cover off on some things. I haven't really been engaged in anything to do with screens so much this week. I just haven't had the opportunity. But things are starting to slow down a little bit now. So I'm seeing a light at the end of the tunnel as we come up on Friday. So I just wanted to cover off on a couple of things. Now, for those of you who are curious, and also for you, Mr. Bird, there's your product. Not this one now. Don't get excited. That's not you. Dat me. You understand that language? This you, dat me. All right. So I wanted to cover off on one thing, which is that we're expecting to have our disposition this Thursday. Okay, that's what we're hearing, is that we should have it by Thursday. And then we take that, put it along with our case information, and then all of that gets handed over to the Federal Trade Commission and they can start their investigation. So I would very much expect that Mr. Bird's going to start hearing from people in the next couple of weeks. He'll be getting notifications. These are just basically for him to defend himself, to let him know what's going on and that he's going to want to defend himself. So once again, this is not a suit. This is just if they go to bring charges, it's going to be very expensive for Mr. Bird. So I know you talk about having lawyers, but what I've heard, Mr. Bird, is that you have attorneys, and then you say, I'm going to have to get me an attorney, and then you use LegalZoom instead of an attorney, and sometimes you'll say attorneys, sometimes you'll say attorney. So I just want to clarify for you. I don't think you have one. I don't. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure, because I saw that law firm as one of the choices for cease and desist options. That's right. I went on LegalZoom and did a little research myself, and I'm going to share some of that today. But that was just a one and done. And Crow can attest to this. I told him exactly what it was back when, because I'd taken it to my attorney and he had seen it and we knew what it was. So he just paid a fee to get a letter sent out somewhere. And that's the letter that he was showing everybody on the video. That was it. It's just he paid somebody more money than what it was worth to even send a letter somewhere, wherever it got sent. But I want to cover off on that. I gave you also an opportunity, Ken, a while back to put your product against ours. Now, you see, that would not have ended up well for you, right? It wouldn't have. I mean, really? But like the coward you are, you decided not to take that option. You decided to take the coward's option, even though you profess to be a professional. But if you're not willing to put your stuff up against somebody else's in a professional environment, okay, not my house, and definitely not in your house by your camera, but to have it go external into public and someone actually do a review and publish that review in something that's actually respected, and you back down from that. Rightfully so. I mean, I would if I'd been you too. That's the reason I put the challenge out there, because I knew you'd never accept it. You would never be able to stand up to this kind of scrutiny, and it would have been done for you. You would probably continue just because you ain't got nothing else to do. Let's face it. You're a guy sitting at home, an old guy that's collecting disability for an ailment that you don't even really have. You just sit at home all day with nothing to do. So why not just make a bunch of 3-hour videos? And that's the truth of it, folks. I mean, I think everybody gets a sense of that. It's been talked about over and over and over again. But at the end of the day, it wouldn't have worked out well for you. And it's not going to work out well for you in the future, because we're going to be going out in public and we're going to be displaying these things in the public eye. So it's not going to work out well for you then, because you're never going to do that. That's your weakness, Bird. You know better. It's not that I think you're afraid to go out of your house, period. But I think once you go outside of your house, nothing good's ever going to come of this. Okay. But outside of that, when you talk about your legal cases and how you continue for the past 3 years, you've been taking Crow to court. You've been suing Crow for 3 years. I mean, you gotta realize at some point in time, even your diehards who may have been on your side, because guys, there are neophiles out there. For anybody, and I know, Bird, you don't know what that word means, but neophiles are people who would rather believe in something. They want to believe in something so bad that they're willing to believe it without a shred of proof, right? They're not interested in the facts or the proof. They just want to believe in that. And that's generally what happens. That's the kind of naivety that ends up, getting people screwed whenever they watch Bird's channel, or has in the past. Not so much now, because we know you're not selling anywhere near as much, if any, Mr. Bird. But the truth is that most of those neophiles have warmed up and come around. There's quite a few of them I talked to that used to be, kind of in your camp, and they're all turncoating on you now because they realize that you're a fraud. Just plain and simple. Not trying to say something nasty and offensive. I mean, there's tons about you that's nasty and offensive, but the reality is when it all boils down, the only thing that matters is that you are a fraud. That's it. Just a fraud. You don't have lawyers, and you claim that you were originally going to take Crow to court over him flashing your logo. Well, I want to show you something here, because this is what I've tried to tell you all along, and you've been using LegalZoom, right? So this is directly from LegalZoom. Take a look at this. Now, this is the FAQ section, and it's about trademarks, logos versus copyrights, right? So when you look in there, there's one in there. Look at this. All right, and you see that little drop down. Now, I know you're technically challenged. I could hear your henpecking on the keyboard the other day. Click, 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 click. Finger, 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 finger. Really astute on that keyboard there, bud. But anyway, once you click that little down, that little arrow, right, the greater than sign, then you click that. This is what it says. I think that pretty much blows your case out of the water, doesn't it? I tried to tell you that, but you wouldn't listen because you're ignorant. But on top of that, now you've vacillated, and you're trying to say this because he's done this smear campaign on your product. Mr. Bird, how is that any different than the smear campaign that you've run on his? Seriously. And the smear campaign that I'm going to run on yours. Because I'm going to get that 19 here, and it's going to have its day in the sun against this. So get prepared. The shame is on its way. Here you got a guy in dirty clothes spraying all this crap. I mean, the dirty clothes I'll pass because you're spraying paint, right? But do you really need to do it right next to your garbage? And then you look at the back of the house and it looks like garbage. And you like to brag about what you have above and beyond Crow. I wouldn't brag about any of that. For one, it ain't yours. Okay? You're just paying to live there. You are a transient resident, sir. You have no ownership. With nothing. You talk about how you can back it up. You can't back anything. You can't back the things that you said about me that I addressed in the video up yesterday. Can you? If you can back them up, back it up. You said you can back all your stuff up. Back it up, scrub. But you can't. You can't back up your use of a light meter because you don't know how to use one. If we wanted to know how bright the brightest point in your room was, we'd ask that. But when it comes to screens, you always measure at the screen. See, professionals know that. So good luck, Mr. Bird. Let the games begin. Take care, guys.